Thought I'd give you a few updates about what's going on around here. As you know, in the past few days, I figured out my walk snail fonts problem, and I had used some information from a video that was out of date, and that caused me the fonts problem. But I published a fix and everything because I knew there was at least one other out there on the planet that was having the same problem. Then I went back through all my videos to make corrections where I had told people that there should be an option change on the MSP options when there should not. And I found I didn't. That was not in any of my videos, although I put it in my own build because I saw it in that video. I didn't speak of it. I just spoke of OSD type being MSP and the serial port you use to overlay your OSD data. That has to be set to 42. That's the only two parameters that need to be changed. The third one was erroneous. So I was happy that I hadn't actually told people to do what I had done, so hopefully a lot of people didn't get into that problem out there. But that one's kind of put to bed now. I have another problem. I ordered my new little quad from iFlight, just like this is where I ordered the 4,000 milliamp hour lithium ion and an 8,000 milliamp hour lithium ion battery from iFlight. And I was quite pleasantly surprised when they arrived within less than a week. I also noticed now that it says that was shipped from our U.S. warehouse. I kind of thought that would happen again, but no. This particular order, which is for the Zing motors, the ESC for the 5-inch build and the little 5-inch frame itself, are shipped from China. And it will be around 25 to 35 working days before it arrives here as an estimate. That puts it April 22nd is a target date, which is quite a ways from now, almost a month. So that wasn't very much fun. Been thinking a lot about this little 5-inch build, etc., and working with the walk snail recently. During the build and stuff, this very nice user here, Leslie W., sent me a message and warned me about walk snail GPS interference, which I started researching. I started looking around the internet after the gentleman told me about walk snail interference with the GPS, and this video right here that I've got up on the screen talks about the difference in the VTX that's just come out on the Pro version. I did find other places, since Leslie mentioned that to me. I was looking into that. I did find lots and lots of other places on the internet where walk snail GPS interference is talked about. This particular video, and I will put it, link to it in the description, and I will go ahead and forward it up to right around the 18-minute mark here to stick it in there, because what this video in this area is going to talk about is the fact that the new walk snail video transmitter doesn't seem to interfere as badly as the original version does. There's lots and lots and lots and lots of other videos on the internet talking about this GPS interference. And you might recognize that I haven't been too pleased with the 7-inch build I'm doing, with the electrical interference, the way everything's put in so tightly, etc. I've just not been pleased with it all along. So, in looking at that, I am looking at 5-inch quads in general, all sorts of interference. What I'm sort of starting to find is, since 5-inch quads have started getting GPSs put on them, recently Betaflight GPS Rescue has been working better, enough to where it's not a software problem anymore, in my humble opinion, as much as I still see people that say they can't get Betaflight GPS Rescue to work. And if you check them, most of them are really on small quads. And I'm not sure a 5-inch quad or less really has enough real estate for all this stuff to work well. Work, probably. Gotten my own to work a little bit. Just a lot of interference with it. So right now, my thinking is that the small quads and stuff have a lot of problems with GPS, just because everything's so close. If you look at some of my older builds, this is my first ever build from 10 going on 11 years ago. This is the Honey Badger. You notice the GPS on it's on a mast way up in the air. Oops, way up in the air. I couldn't get the GPS to work any other way than that. Granted, that's an old GPS. They're much better nowadays in all sorts of ways. By the way, that's an APM 2.5. It isn't even the final APM 2.6. It worked fine. This is the old DJI F450 I built way back when, 8 or 9 years ago. And again, it's got a big GPS mast on it here, keeping the GPS up in the air. By the way, this old frame was a foldable frame. You could loosen this bolt right here and you can see the arc of the slot right here. This arm would rotate back, that arm will rotate here, those two rotate in, and it becomes one long frame for transport. That one actually flew really well too, that way. But again, the only way it would work is getting that GPS way up out of all that other RF. Same thing with the flame wheel. This build is about 6 or 7 years old. One of my favorite. I had a lot of fun with this thing. It's been reworked last year with all new stuff to refly again, and I think we're going to be doing that pretty soon. But again, we have a GPS mask, and even though this is a modern GPS, it's still up on a high mast on the platform, so it's up out of the RF. That's the only way I could ever get them working. And here's my most recent build, the Chimera 7, and I've got it open here because I'm going to be doing some modifications to it today. We'll be putting a little buzzer in the front here underneath the camera. And then exactly what we're talking about here, I'm going to put some shielding on these wires right here. But I'll be doing that in a separate video. What I'd like to talk about in this video is just, this is a 7-inch. The 5-inch that's coming is 2 inches smaller than this. Not a lot. It's not even 25% smaller, maybe 20%-ish. But it just means there's less space on the platform. Now, the walk snail I wanted to put on the 5-inch because I can't get the camera cable to go on this one
The camera cable's just not long enough to go. Put the video transmitter back here and put the walk snail camera up here. It just doesn't work. It's too short. But I think I can do it on the 5-inch. Well, then when Leslie spoke about even on the Sky Hunter about the walk snail being too close to the GPS, in looking at all this and finding out more and more, yeah, that is a problem. I thought about putting analog on the 5-inch like on this one. Then I found out the new walk snail video transmitter doesn't seem to have the problem. So right now it's back on to put the walk snail on the 5-inch. But there's still a lot of interference of all sorts and kinds to deal with. And that's just making me really, really nervous about these. I have flown this one. It did do a portion of a mission well, but I have seen electrical interference in it. I need to finish that mission, analyze the data from it and see what the interference is and how bad it is. Even if only every 5 hours of flight there's enough GPS interference to cause this thing to fall out of the sky, well, that's too much for me. I generally don't fly over people or houses or cars or any kind of property because I don't have the money to pay for them if I drop a drone on it and do damage. And my feeling on this one right now is I'm not confident enough that it won't drop through somebody's roof if I fly it over their house and set their house on fire. I can't afford that. So it's got me kind of in a quandary, especially with the 5-inch. The 5-inch is even worse. Normally those 5-inches never had GPSs on them before. They were Betaflight freestyle drones. That's it. I do want to play with that. That's one of the reasons I want a 5-inch. You can play a little freestyle with the 7-inch, but not like on the 5-inch. Things just aren't going to work the same at all. So, just a little bit of a quandary here lately about the real estate on one of these. You remember the Caprahenia 2 was just really close for me on electronics. So much that on that one, I did use the shielded twisted pair on it wiring wise. I'd used the shielded twisting pair on a lot of stuff. I really didn't ground the drain wire except in the Caprahenia because Caprahenia is just so close. I've got everything wired with shielded twisted pair and drain wires everywhere, all grounded. The Sky Hunters, I have shielded twisting pair in the wings for RC receivers and video transmitters, but I really don't have the drain wire grounded, so technically it's not truly shielded. It was just real easy to take 6-conductor twisted pair, put it in a wing. It's all in one sheath, everything. It is somewhat shielded, and it is twisted. That does help with noise interference, but that's all. Without that drain wire, which does go all the way through the shielded twisted pair, grounded, that grounds that foil shield all the way through that cable. It's really not doing the ultimate that it could. And I mentioned that when I was building it, and you can easily pull that drain wire out of any of those sheaths if I have problems and ground them real easily. It wasn't going to be that easy in the Caprahenia. That's why I did it from the start. But even just the mini Talons, the size they are, it's easy to set all that stuff up and hopefully not have to do that, because on the Sky Hunter, I can put the video transmitter almost 6 feet away from the RC receiver and stuff like that. 3 feet away from the GPS. So those just work better. So I'm going to fly in here and do the work on this. I think shielding this cables rather than, I thought about just taking it all out and putting that shielded twisted pair in there and just resoldering it. But if I break one of these wires while I'm trying to shield this, I'll do that. But I think for starters, I'm just going to disconnect it back here and try to shield this wiring itself rather than going through that other trouble. Then in the future, I will fly this and see what kind of GPS interference is going on. Seeing it's going to be a month before the new quad gets here from China to work on, and actually I ordered a new Oxnell Pro also from Cadix FPV in China. It's coming. I think I asked for it to be shipped airmail rather than ground. It will be here sooner, but that'll just give me something to play with. The servos for that Sky Hunter right back there that's waiting to be completely finished should be here by tomorrow, according to their shipper when they shipped almost a month ago from China. So lots of parts coming in, not much going on except this little modification here because of shipped dates. But I will get this out in the field. We'll make a flight with it after I do the shielding, and we'll see how that fixes it and makes it better. Other than that, I'd like to find a way to mount the GPS elsewhere. I've just got a lot of apprehensions now about building the 5-inch, about GPS interference, quite frankly. I do want to fly it as it, if it didn't have a GPS on it at all, it would fly for me as a beta flight 5-inch for freestyle fun. That's not exactly what I want. I want a full working autonomous drone 5-inch. I'm more cinematic or long range flights, etc., than freestyle or drone racing. Got a immersion RC Vortex 250 in the drawer if I want to race. What else? Also, seeing I've been watching video after video after video on the 5-inch quad builds and all their problems and stuff, I've been seeing a reoccurring theme in the iFlight ESCs, that they go up in smoke pretty easily. So I'm a little worried about that one now on the 5-inch. If I were to go to a country where I could go out 10 miles with this in a flight, I don't want the ESCs to go up in smoke 10 miles out and drop it there. That's craziness. So I'm a little worried about just the ESCs all the way around on both the 7-inch and on the 5-inch. So I guess that's all the notes from everything that's going on here. The weather's getting kind of warm. Of course, then spring rains come in, but I'd still rather have warm weather, whether it's raining or not. So that's all the updates for today. Oh, by the way, I did buy Sneaky Fonts. The guy that made the Sneaky Fonts, I did buy him a few cups of coffee. I would suggest everybody do that if you can. That's the way shareware works. Way back 50 years ago when I was first doing programming, that's the way a lot of us got paid. We put out shareware and said, use it, enjoy it. But if you like, just send me $5 here and there. So that's the way I did for the gentleman who did the Sneaky Fonts. Hopefully that'll keep him up at night doing new things for us. Thanks to Leslie. Thanks to the Sneaky Fonts people. thanks to everybody. Oh, no, I'll start to say I need to show you how I'll be shielding this wiring, but I'll do that in the actual shielding video. All right. Thank you.